I just want to ask you a little bit around what's trending in the news around the Irish team at the moment. You see Grealish and Rice scoring against the Republic. What are your thoughts on that?
I was there, and obviously we'd done a lot of the build-up to the game. Still a really big fixture, even though there's a big disparity between the quality between the two teams, which has happened over the last 15, 20 years. Certainly from when I was playing, we were a lot closer to them. But there was still that aggression there. There was still that intensity with the fans and what the fixture brings. Going back to your question, yeah, it was one of the questions I got asked on the Friday. TalkSport rang me and asked if I'd do an interview, and I said, yeah. And one of the first questions was, Jack Grealish and Declan Rice, you think they'll get some stick? And obviously, they were an easy target for the fans, so it was always apparent it was going to happen. But from their point of view, I think Jack and Declan are two completely, although they are related and it is a similar situation. Declan ended up playing for the senior team a few times. Jack, decided to pull out of his international career with Ireland at a lot younger age. So you can understand it from two different perspectives. What's the question you're asking me?
I was thinking, do you sympathise with them? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? I'm just interested on that because obviously you mentioned that element of representing Ireland and then Rice plays for England. Do you agree with the process or
I think
disagree?
I think the mindset has changed from when I was playing. Listen, I was born in Liverpool, in Birkenhead. It was a time when obviously we'd had Hillsborough. My family was out of work. The government wasn't, the greatest thing in the world for the northern people. So I was brought up as a different mindset, as feeling patriotic. My nan was Welsh. Obviously, I was born in Birkenhead, like I just said. So there was a lot of animosity towards the government. So I never felt patriotic to England. And, I didn't start playing football until I was 20. So, I never, up until 20, I had no ambition of playing for England because I was so far away or playing for any international country. Yeah. So then obviously when I started playing for Bolton, and my career really went from, this level on an upward spiral very, very quickly. And it became apparent that to some people that my quality was good enough to play for a country. So Jimmy Armfield turned up at Bolton and asked me to play for England in a B international, and I never walked away thinking, oh my God, England have asked me to play and I'm desperate to play for England and I'm patriotic and I can't wait to do it. My first initial thought was I want to play for Ireland. And I don't know whether that was because growing up I was a big Liverpool fan and there was a lot of Liverpool players playing for Ireland who were on the granny rule. I don't know whether it was a bit of working in a pub when I was 19 years of age, 20, watching the Irish team in Italia 90, meeting the Pope and Romania, and then obviously getting knocked out with Scalacci goal. God bless him, he's just died. The Scalacci goal against Italy. I don't know whether all that played its part, but I really felt like I wanted to play for Ireland. So my initial reaction was, can you notify the FAI and let Jack Charlton know before I make a decision?
Yeah.
So then obviously Jack turns up and, I'm like overwhelmed at the end of the game when he comes up to me and he says, do you want to represent Ireland? It was just a yes straight away. It was two completely different reactions from Jimmy Armfield. So I always had that pull towards Ireland. Now I understand, from what I can't answer the question with, I didn't go through a youth system. So I didn't come through 16s, 18s, 20s. So I was never in the system. So I can't really answer for why Jack has done it or Declan's done it. I just know from my personal experience, I never felt patriotic towards England, but I wanted to play for Ireland. Obviously, they have different reasons, whether that was from a professional point of view where they felt Ireland's not for me. And also, my Irish team and my Irish generation that I was playing in were extremely successful. They'd been to the Euros 88, then they'd been to the World Cup in 90, missed out in 92, then it was all of a sudden it was 94 World Cup, which obviously I was introduced into and played. So I was at a different time than what they were. So I can't really answer to it. Listen, and we're each to our own. You know, they've chosen their own reasons for their own reasons. You know, it's not being detrimental towards Ireland. They obviously feel that they want to play for England, and that's where they want to go.
So on that then, Jason, did you have to maybe adopt that element of being Irish then? Did you have to learn about the culture? Because you said you kind of grew up in a kind of a pub and you understood and you were influenced and you were inspired by watching Nationality. Did you have to maybe learn a little bit more about the culture going into the Irish team? And
no, not really. My first game was against Russia at Lansdowne Road, and I was very new to football. I was still wet behind the ears, although I'd been playing for Bolton maybe for 2.5 seasons, maybe 3 seasons, touching, and then I'm now representing the country on the brink of going to a World Cup. You know, I was playing for Marine Reserves. You know, in 1990, in 1994, I was playing in the World Cup at Giant Stadium in front of 100,000 people. So, you know, it was all very new and very quick. You know, I wasn't told I needed to learn the national anthem. My grandfather was from Ireland, from my dad's side, so obviously I had that connection. And I was just really introduced into it, and all of a sudden, you know, felt very at home, very, very quickly, you know, with the players. Obviously, I was in awe of a lot of the players, the senior players, the Aldridge, Staunton, you know, Ray Houghton, Ronnie Whelan. You know, obviously I was drawn to them because it was Liverpool. But, you know, we had Paul McGrath. And I think what helped me as well is Phil Babb and Gary Kelly. We were all introduced at the same time. Yeah. So the kind of three of us bounced off each other. And we kind of got a grips to things in our own young way, really. We were messers. We were there to be introduced as the next generation, to kind of bring a bit of freshness and youthfulness to the squad, which was aging and sort of dying off a little bit. So, you know, the one thing I did struggle with was tactically. You know, I then signed for Liverpool, where you can't give the ball away, and, you know, Ronnie Moran would batter you if you dared give the ball away or even thought about it, to then Jack Charlton, which was just get it and lump it as far as you could. So I did struggle tactically, but from a cultural side of things, no, I didn't struggle at all.